So I'm dating Corbin Griffin. Okay. I didn't know his middle name was Alan. I didn't know his middle name was Corbin Allen Griffin. But okay. I don't know. He got his social media under B Guy Griffin. So he doesn't really acknowledge his middle name either. So anyways, back in like 2019, I'm dating Corbin Griffin. I have no idea who he is before that, and that might shock his whole family. That I was in the Meridian area for 2 years, and I didn't know who Corbin Griffin was, or who the House, Griffin House Music is in the Meridian area. Anyways, so I became super close friends with this chick named Madison Beach. My aunt managed the Taipan trading in the Milwaukee Fairview shopping. It's not really a mall area, but they consider it a mall area. And the one right next to the Nature's Grocers and the what's it called? That place where everyone gets their knitting stuff. Anyways, so now there's like a Planet Fitness around there, and it's right next to the Barnes and Noble store, which I used to love going to. And that was one of the things that Medicine and I went as as an activity for just nerdy stuff. So there we are, super close, like hold on. Let's see, 1920. I am not 21 yet. And and I moved to Meridian after an intense breakup. Oh my God. She saw me at my worst coming into a new city. And so, she's older than me. She's 24. She's 24 years old. I'm 20. And we hit it off. We both are cashiers and pricing the trade goods, and she knows all the extra store things because she's been working there for the last 3 years. And so, we hit it off, and she loves my work ethic. She's like, you are very responsible for your age, and you pay attention very well. You're just very visual compared to most people, and you don't annoy me because you're not wordy enough. Like those chicks that kind of just like talk for days because they like to hear their own voice. So, I'm like, oh my God, well, thank you so much for like paying attention to me and getting to know what I've gone through with the breakup, and, telling her, like, we're still trying to figure things out, and her being like, okay, this chick is using you, and then me being like, don't say that, my heart is broken. I can't understand what is happening to me. Like, I know she's lying to me, but everything about me is telling me that I still need to give her chances because she keeps calling me her best friend, and I know all her baggage and the times that all her best friends have left her, and I know that she's like a nerd outcast geek punk person, and I grew up as, an outcast emo, like, ish, and like a just not the typical popular chick thing. And so I'm still holding on to all that. And so every time that she messages me and texts me and apologizes for all the things that she did, including cheating on me multiple times, and then saying, "Oh no, well, you know that I'm having anxiety breaks and mental breaks, and I'm crying all the time, and I'm thinking about my parents' divorce, and the time that my dad slapped me in the face, Edward Fry from Cambridge, Idaho." And you know that it still upsets me because my dad never accepted me dating girls, and he accepted you, and then my grandpa accepted you into the family, giving you our family business pens from the little diner shop that he owns, and other things in Idaho. And then, I'm like, I know, like, that was a big thing. It still hurts my heart that after your dad accepted me, you cheated on me with this chick from California that is known here in Twin Falls selling weed, named Leah. And she fit your description of punk because she has a sun tattoo on her right shoulder, or one of her, yeah, it's probably her right shoulder, and other tattoos that she has. And she plays video games and I don't play video games, and you cheated on me while you said, "Hey, I need a little vacation away from Twin Falls, and you don't want me visiting my ex Brianna, who I told you I had sex with and is one of my best friends currently, even though she broke up with me and only wants to be best friends." And I still keep her and I's mall shop pictures from the cute like couple or family picture things, that like you make faces, or you end up kissing the person, and then you keep the pictures in your little desk, one of the the well, right now my brain is calling it a hiding place because it hurt my heart. Okay, she told me that she was excluding all the exes that could potentially, like, try and be more than friends, and then she lied to me and kept the pictures where she knew where they were. And and so I made it into a huge fuss, and I'm like, "You ain't going to California, to Northern California rich side, to go and visit Brianna, Captain Poo Poo as you call her, because she's willing to pay your ticket to go visit her, because you've told her just how hard you've had it, how difficult you've had it this past year with any of your worries, not just work, and expect me to, just be okay with it." And then you being like, "Fine, you know what? I just need to get away and go to just some quick trip away from Twin Falls." And then she goes with Leah on a run to go get weed, and then me angry because I'm like, "I can't stop you there. I'm not quite sure." Well, I didn't know about the weed part until afterwards. And you told me that it was a quick trip to California, and your friend Leah, who you met only because you told me to meet friends here in the area of Twin Falls, and I got to meet me. And then she popped up as a friendly person on her profile, and I met her first. And then I was like, she's not really my type of friend. So then I introduced you to her, and then there you go, making friends with her. And then you tell me you're gonna go to that invite that she said, hey, come along with me if you're having such a difficult time being around your fiance. And then there she goes, and then comes back during the time that I am in my finals for my graduation, for my associates in American Sign Language. And there you go, getting into my Ford Focus like it's nothing, my white Ford Focus like it's nothing, on the passenger seat for the first time, to tell me that you had sex with Leah. And that you just feel bad because you had sex with Leah, and you had to come back and tell me, and me having my suspicions, and then telling you that I was already set to move out of the apartment, so I wasn't gonna be able to help with rent, and that I was moving away, and at like her favorite location, the Teton Valley, she told me that was her favorite place. And I'm like, hey, I got invited to work to make money closer to the Tetons than when you worked in Driggs, Idaho. And then her being like, I can't believe you would do that to me. And then she's like, where's my wallet? I came here for my wallet. And then I hand it to her, and then I'm like bawling my eyes out because she told me that she cheated on me. And I'm bawling my eyes out while I'm entering my class. And so, I had to take the day off because I couldn't verbalize anything, and I'm crying, sobbing to the whole entirety of my class, my graduating class, and my program director. So, she's like, oh my gosh, take the day off. And all of them had met my fiance during some of the community activities. And then Leah doesn't care about coming over to our apartment because it's still our apartment. I'm still paying for the apartment, partially. And, like we're partially kind of sharing the room. And it's just really freaking weird. It's awkward. It's awkward because I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then she's like, oh, that's okay. Well, anyways, Leah's going to come over, and yeah, we're going to be in my room. And then, so, I'm like going to my part-time job, and then getting text messages of Alexandria Fry, sending me sexual pictures of her and Leah together. And then me at work with my coworkers, showing them, being like, okay, have fun, cool, enjoy yourself. How is that fit going to stop me from not paying the other part of the rent? Oh, yeah, okay, well, I'm still leaving. And so, then after that, I'm like showing the pictures of Leah because she's ugly. Ugly. She is an ugly girl. Okay? And I realized that. And I realized how awkward of a body shape Alexandria has too. And so, there was a lot of things that I got to notice not being faithful and loyal to the relationship, the person. And so then after that, she shows up to my graduation because I'm like, yes, you are still allowed to go to my graduation, because she asked me, hey, am I still allowed to go and show up to your graduation? I said yes. And then she shows up with a like she got mauled, okay? She got mauled by Leah in full blown, like the hour before. Huge, like man hand level of a neck collar. And then she shows up with that, and then starts saying, oh, there's no more room left to find seats. And then I'm like, okay, that's your fault. We everyone here understands why you were late. And then, she's texting me throughout the graduation, telling me it's your fault that I can't be there for your graduation. And then me being like, how is it my fault? You were busy. And so then, I leave, and then guess what? My stupidness falls for the homelessness thing, because she's like, how am I gonna pay rent and get out of this contract? You already paid rent and got yourself out of the contract, and I'm gonna be homeless and in debt. And so I get upset because I really want that apology. I want the apology because she hurt me, and I wanted her to acknowledge that she was wrong, and that she hurt me to the extent of her, being all punk emo. And then I'm like I won't leave you homeless. So then I pay once or twice for her rent. So that's 2 months during the summer while I went to go make money in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I'm really upset about that still today, because that's about $600 or $700, about $1,000 that went to her rent, and none of it for me, because then I felt bad that she got fired from her St. Luke's cleaning job, and she didn't want to work in McDonald's, so she didn't really take more hours besides a part-time. And then she's telling me that she's all alone, and then moves in a gay couple, young dudes that, I'm like, I don't know, because you hung out with one of them, and then you introduced me to the term dabs, and then that freaked me out, because I'm like, you're gonna die. And then she didn't care about what I cared about, and then went and did all that, and I didn't know that it was associated to weed. And so then I'm driving back from Jackson Hole to Twin Falls because she's like, no, I'm not dating Leah. And, she's like, can we work on our relationship? And then me being like, so does this, like, I'm still hurt, right? I'm still like, my fiance cheated on me. I know what looks bad about her, just her existence, and I'm still that loyal person. And so no clothes look good on her, okay? And then I drive the 3 hours from Jackson Hole to Twin Falls, or the 4 hours. It's 3 or 4 hours. And then I take her to Jackson Hole for like 3 days for a little vacation. And then she tries and get me to spend a lot of money on her. And so then I'm like, oh my gosh, you are ungrateful. And so there she still makes me cry. And then I drive her back. And then that same day I drive back to Wyoming because I have to work the next day. And then I'm paying for all of that. And then all she messages me is like, no, stay safe or any of that, because for her it's too relationship, it's too lovey or caring. So then she's like, okay, like, she doesn't say good. She's like, okay. And then I'm like, I almost died going back to Jackson Hole because it rained more than I could ever believe it could rain, and I couldn't see through the windshield, and it's a mountain drive, and it got to the point where I had to like stop on the side of the curb, hoping not to be like swept by one car and then thrown to the side with my own car, and then counting the time it took for the rain to stop or lighten up so I could go and see or drive back to Jackson Hole. And so anyways, and I explained this all to her, and she's like, you made it. And so, I'm like spending this whole summer out there being like, wow, like, how does a chick go from being super caring and then she doesn't care? So my emotions are being triggered because my mind is being thrown into a different set of behaviors that I never experienced with her. And I just didn't know that like in culture someone can easily drop someone at that level of culture, and I didn't know that existed. I didn't know. So then afterwards, right, she wanted to have me let her borrow my Ford Focus so she could drive all the way to Cambridge, Idaho for her dad's wedding and bring Leah along. And then I'm like, I'm the one who got invited. And then I'm like, if you want to make it to your dad's wedding, I'm going to be the one to go there because you're the one telling me that you want to fix my relationship with you. And then now you want me to let you borrow my car and pay for the gas. So she's treating me with the relationship stuff that we had, like you'll pay for this portion and you'll pay and I'll pay for this portion, and then we'll get utilities and bills and other activities, all that, like just sharing the life experience. And she was still treating me like that, so I was confused. About our relationship, and I just didn't have access to how far she was friends with Leah. I just had to kind of trust her word, even though there were times where she's like, I don't have to explain myself to you. And so, that hurt. That hurt. And then, so we make it to the wedding, and, her being with her family, and her family, like, really being like, oh my gosh, you're a part of our family, and not knowing about her cheating, and so her family's welcoming me, and is like, where's Alex? Like, the dance is there, like, she's supposed to be taking you out to the dance floor. Where's she at? And that's with her dad dancing with his new wife, Linda. So then, Linda and Ed are dancing, and everyone else is looking for Alex because she's like somewhere else in her own little thing, trying to text all her exes, and text all her best friends, and then text all the sad messages that she had for Leah, being all sad that she couldn't be the one instead of me. And then, like, I'm just like there, just like with my cup, because apparently they had this family drink called jungle juice. It's like fruit punch, but with other things. And I'm not a drinker, but Alex, like, really just, like, I was at the bottom of her barrel, and so, like, it took someone to go find her and to have that mature talk, being like, you don't bring her here and then not take her out to the dance floor on a wedding event that is special to your father and your new stepmom. And so then that's the only reason she's like, okay. So she takes me by the hand and then has a dance with me. But like to me, I'm just like, I don't believe anything that I am walking into. And so, and then, not to make Alex mad, I don't say anything. I don't say anything about her cheating or any of that, because, I still have to drive like 2 hours back, 3 hours, or 3 hours, 3-ish hours back to Twin Falls. And this time I have to drive because Alex freaking didn't know how to put the drive to the car going through the washing machine for a car washing machine. And then my parents had to fight the insurance and all that, and adding her to the insurance. Adding for one more other person under their name. And then they're like, there's that, but, you need to be the one that drives. And then, yeah, for me, after that, I'm like, no. And then she freaking hit the the driver's mirror side, she broke it. She parked it to where it broke off. And then I had to figure out how to find the right glue to put it back together. And then, so anyways, I drive back, and then all she is doing is screaming at me because she's like, you give me anxiety every time that you drive. You're a bad driver, and look at that, you missed the exit. See, I told you that I should have been the one driving. And then she just like, we make it to the driveway, and she just leaves me crying. And then she's like, well, I'm leaving. I'm going to head over to Leah's. And then I can't do anything about it because she sends that text. Leah shows up, picks her up, and then I'm left in the apartment. And I don't even want to be in the apartment, so I'm just outside where the door is. And just, going through that form of panic, going through every level of cheating that could possibly happen again. And so then after that, she's like, okay, well, let's go with my mom's side of the family. And so we go there the next day, and then she takes me to a movie, and then she's like, we are officially over afterwards. And then I'm like, you lied to me about working on the relationship? And so then, I couldn't stay. So I drove to Meridian and then just started my life over there for my bachelor's degree. And then after that, she messages me again and apologizes, and then tells me all that stuff about her mental panic, anxiety reactions. And then because I'm like seeing it as like a mental issue, then I'm like, okay, well, I can forgive that. And as long as like you're seeing it as a mental issue. And so then afterwards, she practically tries to take advantage of me again by like asking for money, and then telling me that she's not dating Leah. And then I start texting her again, and then Leah messages me and says, stop texting my girlfriend. And then I'm like, when the fuck did this happen? And then Leah leaving me with, because she's the one picking up the phone. She's like, we're in Nevada. We're meeting my dad. We are in Las Vegas. Stop contacting Alexandria Fry. You're ruining this for me. And then me being like, whoa, hey, tell her that, she hangs up on me. And then I'm like, beep, 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 beep. And so then I leave her a message being like, I'm contacting all your family members, including your grandfather, including your father, and asking for all the money you've taken from me. So just so you know, I'm in that process. That's what's going to happen, especially because you left my name in bills that are not supposed to have my name, and left the bills to me. And then there you are justifying it to Leah. And I'm going to go and contact your family. And then Alex doesn't want to disappoint her dad's image of her or her grandfather's. So then she cries about it, and then we make a pay plan And so then I get my money, I block her, and then my life goes on. And then life, you know, proceeds and gets better. So I'm telling Madison Beach all of this. And so she's like, "Oh my God." So she's like, "Okay, well, you've had it pretty rough compared to myself," because she's going through a bunch of her own stuff with credit card debt that her mom had been racking up under her name. And so, she's like trying to figure out hours of work so she can pay it off and then pay her other bills. And so, we become friends. I open my eyes to a new life culture type. And so, we at least have Barnes and Nobles, okay? And I'm not a drinker, but like we have like that girl night being like, "Oh, hey, your rich friend has her house and your house sitting, and whoa, okay, you are a very good house sitter. You leave it very clean." And so then we just like find a TV show, and she introduces me to like this shot game where if um like like a hat is on screen, or like a Christmas hat is on screen or something like that, then you take a shot. And so then, after that, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that ever again. And so then after that, we're still really good friends because it's the conversation. And so after that, she's like, "Okay, well, I don't have to house sit anymore. We can start hanging out at my place because my dad just moved out, and so you can come here and hang out, or he's working extra hours or something." He's planning on remarrying this chick that he met named Dee. And so then, same thing. I'm like, "Wow, you have a very clean house." And so, it doesn't smell like weed. It doesn't smell like any of that. No alcohol, any of that. And so she's like, "Yeah, I keep it clean. I'm very responsible." And so when she brings up, "Hey, I am a weed smoker," it helps my back, my neck, because I got into a car accident in California and I don't have medical insurance. And so, I take weed to relax. And so I'm like, "Oh my God, that's terrible. No medical insurance? Oh my God, you should have medical insurance for something like that. If you're telling me that it really is at like a 7 or 8 in pain." So then, she's like, "Okay, well, I'll show you some stuff, my little kit." And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen some stuff that I'm not supposed to. And then, because I don't plan on smoking it, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you have a really clean home. Like, what does this kit look like?" And so then she introduces me to her little garage space where she's like, "I just come in here and then I grab some of the stuff. Here I have this thing that's supposed to filter any of the smell out, and I have this stuff and the small stuff, and then there's she has like this a big it's a big glass fancy like one person bong thing that she has hidden in her bathroom closet." And so so she's like, I like putting ice in there, and just like it's like some form of is a different type of weed smoke. Like apparently each experience is a different experience, and or theme is a different theme. And so, like, I don't feel like attacked or like she's gonna harm me. And she's like, I watch this hippie girl that also smokes weed, and she travels and tries out little different flavors that she's invited to at parties, and she's really bubbly and happy. She kind of reminds me of you. And so then then she puts on like those shows where she's like, yeah, this is how I relax, and I feel that I'm around happy, good people. And so then, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not like you bringing in like super aggressive music and smoking and all that. And she's like, yeah, that stuff that stuff's in my stronger, tougher, darker days. And then me taking it as like, oh, cool, like you're showing me that you've been having a good healing experience, from tough days to now, being in this culture that's showing happy, productive people. And she's like, yeah, I don't like bum smokers. I like to be productive. I like to know that I have a job, that this person, the people that I follow have jobs. And look at her. She looks very healthy, and she's got the right proportion of woman curves, and she's making money from the social media stuff, and she's traveling, so it's not just her sitting in a room. And so then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like that makes sense. And so then so after that, right, she introduces me because she already knows, right? Like I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm that adventurous, okay? Like, oh my god, I don't know, like and so she, like, just from the reaction, she's like, just one time. And so then I'm like, oh my god, just like, that, like, I don't, like, that looks like a lot, and then she's like, oh my god, you thought that I was gonna give you all that? And then me being like, well, I don't know. And so she's like, no, like, you're supposed to have only like you got small baby hands, okay? Like the tip of your little nail. And so then that's what she gives me. And then she's like, oh my god, I probably should have given you less than that. And then so then after that, I'm like, oh my god, because now I'm freaking out, because now I'm like, you, like I'm not saying correctly. And then she's like, that's not really supposed to affect you in a hallucinogenic way. And then me being like, okay, then I don't know what I'm experiencing. I don't know. I don't have anything to say besides hold my hand, because I'm freaking out. And so then, she puts on like old music that I was into. She's like, come here, I'll put some Michael Jackson music for you. And then, throughout that freak out moment, she's not judging me. And me telling her, like, I'm opening my eyes and it looks like I'm flying through space. And I don't really, like, I don't even know if I can walk because my feet are gone. And 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 can you please hold me, because I don't, like, I need to close my eyes, but I can't close my eyes because like I feel like I like that darkness, I'm gonna lose myself. So then I'm only relying on holding her hand and like practically just just like breathing. Like I succeeded not to be rocking back and forth. But then after that, I just passed out, and the next day she's like, "Oh my goodness." And then she's like, I am never going to say you're not allowed to be around me. And then, so after that, right, we're basically best friends from there, because I'm like, oh my God, we just experienced one of my most embarrassing experiences in my life. And you don't judge me. You call me your sunshine bubble, and you are inviting me to watch cool Animal Geographic shows, and you're telling me that I'm smart and that the rest of the town, the city of Meridian, is dumb. And then that makes me feel good, because then I get acknowledged, one person out of many. And so so she and I have a good friendship for 2 years while I'm going to not college, university. And so she is going through job changes, and she meets other people, and I can't meet them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, as your best friend, I need to know who you're with. And so then she's like, but you're busy, you can't be here like sooner. And me being like, that's right, that's true, I have to graduate. Thank you for being the best friend that supports me. And so then she's like, okay, well, I still want you to meet my friends. And that apparently there's this guy named Corbin Griffin that just gets super smoked out and then starts telling crazy stories, right? And so she considers him a really close friend. And so she's like, you need to meet him. And so then I'm meeting him 2 years later, and like the first time was not an impression I would say would be like a good impression, because like he just didn't really prove himself to be the guy that everyone was telling me, like, if Madison can speak for all. And so, after that, he has a party because he's moving in with Madison, and Madison has her boyfriend, Noah, and Noah has grown up with Corbin Griffin, and both of them have had their history together. And Madison isn't telling me complete details, only that he's a rapper in the local area and he supports him. And then I'm like, okay, cool, like wait, I'm trying to figure out what you're telling me about these stories, because I want to see that. And so then, so I have no curiosity about the rap stuff. I'm like, cool, someone's like afternoon personal activity. Madison, you what's it called? You crochet. And I'm learning sign language. And so then after that, I'm there, and then Corbin's like, hi, hey, like, what's up? And then me being introverted, being like, look, I didn't really get the impression that I should like you as a person the first time. This time, you're trying to beef yourself up and be like cool. And so I don't really have like a good relationship with you right now. And so then I'm just joining in with just introvertly, just kind of just being there with Madison because she's also a huge introvert. And so I'm right across her from the table, and then, just making eye contact with her, just being like, oh my God, there's too many people. Oh my goodness, remember those times when we were just on the sofa watching the shows we want? And so then Corbin's time goes on, and I'm not talking to him. And then Madison's kind of making conversation with him and Noah and participating with the friends, and then keeping an eye on me because I'm not saying much compared to our usual time together. And then me being like, pat, 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 like, we both know we don't really like the party life. And so then she's like, I gotcha. And so then after that, me being like, wow, no one here knows how to behave. Like, none of them are normal socializers. And so then, after that, Corbin, like, catches up with me because I'm still curious, right? I'm like, who the heck? Like, I'm not seeing this person that Madison is describing. So I fall behind a little, and then because I'm after that conversation, I'm like, who are you? Like, who is the person? Because I trust with what Madison says, right? So I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. And so then he falls behind, catches up to me, and then he's like, can I sit with you on the floor? And and so I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And because everyone went into the game room, and everyone's watching TV, and I'm on the side on the floor next to the wall, and he's, there joining me. And so then after that, I'm like, so what are you into? I hear you're a rapper, but like, what else? Like, what do you like besides rapping? And so then he's like, oh, well, if I could be a book publisher, a writer, that's who I'd be. And so then after that, I'm like, oh, hey, that answer makes you more of a genuine person. Okay, fine. Since you're gonna live here and Madison's all into your personality friend lifestyle, then okay, well, I'll get to meet you. I liked that answer. So then after that, I search for him on Facebook, seeing if he's friends with Madison. And so he has a Facebook, and I add him. I don't like his profile picture. It looks like he has the biggest nose. But then I'm like, like, I'm a nice person. Hey, what's up? And so then after that, we're having intense, like intellectual conversation, and I'm bringing up my like nerd talk with Myers-Briggs 16 personality things, and then Madison's like, oh my God, of course you do that. That's one of your biggest things that you enjoy talking about or bringing up to people. And so then I'm like, yeah, I just, he seems to be into that stuff too, for conversation. And then we become friends, and then Madison's like, this is a good thing. Like, my life is having some good people in them, in the conversational, like, good household structure, because she doesn't like awkwardness, she doesn't like fighting, she doesn't like anything that would disrupt her happy place. And so, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making friends, I'm participating, and I'm meeting. By this point, I'm like, okay, you're cool enough, we're cool. And so then, I get the hey, do you want to hang out, do you want to go and watch some comedy shows in downtown? And at that stage in my life, I'm like, whoa, I get my time inside the house with Madison so that I don't have to go anywhere, and I can finally concentrate just being cozy and just having my space inside a home. And then Corbin is like, well, I want to go out. So then I'm like, and that's perfect, because I need to socialize too outside. So that helps me not be so introverted and cooped up. So I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to go and be extroverted, because I haven't been able to do that. All I've been is focused on studying and passing all this level of intense exam stuff that I don't understand. And now I don't have to go through that. I don't have to go through that now. I can spend some time outside. So then I tell him, yeah, sure. Oh my God, that's perfect. And I tell him, I'm like, I love my time with Madison, and I also need to be outside so that I'm not inside all the time. And so he's like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was thinking about myself. And so then I'm like, that's perfect. Oh my God, this is aligning. And then he's like, oh my God, you're using the correct words. You're saying alignment, because everything has its place and time. And I'm like, exactly. And then he's like, that's what people don't get. That's what people don't get. There was this one time, right? I'm losing my mind on shrooms. And me being like, oh my God, don't do that. And then me being like, okay, all right, what you go through? And then he was like, look, there was this line, this glowing light line, glow that was going through a tree. I didn't connect that to Mac Miller yet, but still. So then he's like, and I tell people this, and they don't understand. They don't understand that there's like a world, and then me being like, oh my God, look, I've been going through some like science things right now, because I've been searching Einstein, and he's been talking about reality and the different times of reality, and he's been talking about situationals in the relation, in the relative, the theory of relativity, and the different like one reality can be different from a different reality, from different things, the different environment that is in each reality, and each person notices different things in each reality, so that makes it a complete different reality. So I know where you're going with this. And then he's like, He's like, that's what people don't get, that there's no way that there isn't other realities. And so then after that, I'm like, I get what you're saying. Let's go. And then he's like, exactly. And these are the themes right now that these comedians are talking about. And then me being like, oh my God, that's perfect. Oh my God. Yes, I'm gonna join you to go to these stand-up comedian things. And so then after that, right? After that, I'm feeling like I'm friends actually with this guy, Corbin Griffin. And so he invites me to the stand-up thing. And I did not know that he is so there's alcoholism, and then there's all day, every day being on weed, dabs, or shrooms. I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that about him. He is able to take enough to behave normally. And he associates that, later I find out, because he's been smoking ever since he's been like 13 or 14, which means that by now that he's 21, his tolerance is very low. See, this is the stuff I'm learning from being around them. And so then after that, he's like, let's go. So obviously I'm like, oh, okay, I can get in the car with you. and so we have a good time, right? Like, I'm not associating any of this with like not being in good care with someone that is like high out of their mind, or not, and upset, or that, and just using the drug to cope with what he says is a stress reliever. And so, he and I keep having the conversations we've had having, messaging, texting, and he, brings in a little bit of his life portion of explaining, like, he's very close with his father, and he's getting to know his mother, and he doesn't like his stepmother, and he got broken up with Mariana, who is practically his fiance, and they've been together since middle school, practically. And so then she cheated on him, and he's someone that aligns with Madison Beach, that aligns with respect and aligns with discipline and holding down a job, and good things to my ear that says, okay, you are aligned with Madison, and those are good behaviors to have. And so I'm being told this, and I'm being the person I am, and being like, oh my God, I got cheated on too. Oh my God, I was heartbroken. And then he's like, I'm not heartbroken, but I just don't like that behavior. It's disrespectful. And so then I'm like, that is really cool, because it shows me that I should have taken those steps before and not been so hurt and heartbroken, and that I should have just like removed her from my life instantly instead of paying for those 2 extra months of rent or the extra groceries or almost falling for any extra money things afterwards. Still moved in Meridian while she was still living here in Twin Falls. And so because like the engagement rings that she bought me, I couldn't throw them away. I couldn't sell them because I didn't really know how to sell them. And I like was like, oh my God, like I invested so much that throwing them away is like throwing myself away. It only matters a little bit that she bought them for me. And it means a lot more that I invested in the relationship, and me just throwing them away would be like throwing myself away. And so I explained all this, and so, I thought, hey, you're a genuine guy. You're letting me talk about those things. And then he's like, I agree with you. That's what I told Mariana. That she's not a hard worker, that she's not, meeting her goals that she says she has. And I'm like, well, good. You don't have to marry a chick that doesn't align with those achievement goals or that level of thinking, that mentality. And so then after that, he's like, oh my gosh, you need to get to know some of these rappers that I'm into. So there's this guy, Chris Webby, that has been a part of my life ever since I was young. And so the print shop, t-shirt shop that I work at, that I manage, Chris Webby has ordered some, or some people order some of the labelings. And so I'm like, cool, awesome. Like, so he's introducing me to all these different rappers. And, so, I'm like, that's cool. They're not really saying, like, too many, like, there's not, like, obviously they're rappers and they're saying some crude stuff, but I get what you're saying. They also advocate for no bum stuff and to not be lazy and to be hardworking, and they're white rappers, so I am understanding that they like to be known for smart behavior, smart moves, and not to be in the category of dumb or stupid. And they're not trying to tell people to overdose or something. And so then after that, right, he invites me to more hangouts, like going to downtown events. But after that, right, so practically we get really well acquainted, and then I'm there being like, oh my God, I'm gonna spend the night here because it's 2 a.m. I do not want to drive. This is more stuff that, like I'm just used to being like, Madison, I'm gonna stay over. I'm not gonna drive. And so, we're hanging out, and I'm already seeing him as a best friend, right? And so he's already showing more care to me than the usual dude out there being like, yeah, we hung out, we just, we smoked a little and was like, what's up, and then all right, well, cool, um, you're gonna head out, all right, well, peace out, you know. So then so I'm like, you cool with me staying over here? Like, seriously, like, I like you are nerd with the PJs and your glasses, and like I'm ready for a PJ party. I have been lost from having to focus on so many studies that I want my fun time to have like a big t-shirt that I can wear so I can stay here. I already know Madison. Madison's probably like, oh my god, those two nerds. And then me being like, I told you, Madison. I told you I wouldn't leave you behind. I know your crowd. I'm here. I represent. I represent you. I represent the people. So then, he's like, okay, well, where's this one? Where's the Chris Webby one? And so then I'm like, okay, cool. I'll put that on. And so he's in his PJs, right? The Scottish look, right? And so then I'm like, there we go. This is my type of night. And so then I go change, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna okay, well, I got so I put on the I don't remember if they were shorts or if they were what's it called? Like sleeping pants. I don't remember. But I do remember that after that, right? Like, I'm like getting all cozy and being like, oh my god. Like, this is the actual, this is the PJ party I have always dreamed of. I have always wanted to have this type of nerdy experience. Okay? And so I'm getting ready, right? And so we're chilling and we're talking still. And so then, right, like I'm like you good with me staying over? I'm gonna sleep right there. And then you can sleep where you usually say, like, is this, like, I'm guessing this is your side because that's where the pillow is at. And so after that, right, we're getting like, okay, all right, it is like 2-3 in the morning. I'm tired. You're tired. I need to sleep because I gotta be ready to be that best friend for Madison in the morning. And so then after that, I'm like almost falling asleep, right? I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And then it happens. Then Corbin Griffin, he like takes this big breath and then just like lunges towards me and then kisses me. And then after that, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I didn't expect this to happen, but we're here. And so then when I'm like, oh my god, I would feel so bad to just stop the kiss. Like, I would feel so bad after everything he's told me and after everything, right? Because he's not he's not my kiss, right? He's not what I would consider my good kiss, right? Like he's not what I would consider a good kiss, right? So I was like, but I'm not like a terrible person. Like I just like I would feel bad. So then after that, then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so bad. Like the kiss is so bad that I'm like, he is a real nerd. And so then after that, I'm like, I'm not gonna be the one to hurt him. Mariana, that's all you. So then I'm like, he, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's wearing all the the PJ stuff that would never get him like the hottest girl. Okay? So then after that, right? So I just thought, okay, well, there's the kiss. And so then it really like now I'm left awkward. Surprised and awkward. But like still like sentimental, like, oh. And so then he like just goes for everything. And so then at that point in my life, right, I'm still being babied by the whole house. So I don't have this voice. I don't have the maturity to my voice. I don't have the rationality to have a mature voice to anything that I'm experiencing. And so then I'm like, okay. Like I I guess this is the guy for me. I guess we talked about alignment. We talked about the right placement in life, and so like some of that is a participant in believing in God. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is the guy I'm supposed to marry. I guess God has humbled me. I guess, I mean, that kiss was so bad. And, I'm not gonna be that person. I'm not gonna be like all those other people who have been my friends using me, or the people that are like, oh, I want to try and date you, and then they're like, oh, well, there's something better out there. So then I'm like, I'm not that person. So I guess this must be a sign that I'm being a humble person, and and like those other things are just so selfish. And so guess what? I didn't know about how fucking dirty, naughty Corbin Griffin lived outside of what he was telling me that he is. I didn't know about his social media. I didn't know about his past. I didn't know about anything. Like, he invited me to a pimp and hose party, and there I am being fucking stupid, being like, I'll join you. It's really cool that you're advocating for the opposite, and that you're taking me, representing yourself as someone that has clothes on, and doesn't want to talk to any of those chicks, doesn't want to look at them, doesn't like all that class. But guess what? He's not that type of guy. There is, like, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't think it was this level of X-rated place, and that's at Noah's parents' house, freaking getting drunk and grabbing each other's asses and looking at other people, and then the other people, their young age group category allowed in their house, getting, like, angry at each other, and also sexual, by, like, biting each other or whatever, on the sofas, and then some, like, chicks with lingeries and, like, their boobs hanging out, and like so drunk that, like, they're falling from the, like, with the heels that they have and all that, and like I have to be exposed to like jiggly jello butt, right, with like the strings and like falling apart and all that stuff, and then the classier side of that, the family being like, hey, you need to behave yourselves. I'm just joking, we brought the cats. And so then they brought the cat, someone brought their cat, and then the other guy, the Barlantolos, or whoever his name is, looking like Twiggy but like buffer, and still with glasses, and bringing out a deck of spiritual cards, reading the room and personalizing it to the chick that's saying, oh my gosh, I want my cards read again. And so then, after that, I'm like, oh my god, where am I? And so then there's this big, huge jar of weed that Noah's brother brought from Oregon. And they have like a back shed with a pool table and a lot of puzzles that his family have built together. And then they brought all, like treats and all, and they decorated the lights and their little bar section. And then Corbin's out there, like asking me to dance with him, like sway dance with him, and then take a picture with him, because he wants me to participate in his family group, which is Noah's family and his own family and other local community members. And so then he like asks me to sit on his lap, and then like me just being like this guy is telling me that the worst he is to ask me to sit on his one of his thighs. And so then, like, I have the picture. I'm so sad. It was such a good picture of me, not him, of me. Smiling. And I lost it to Facebook. I don't have a Facebook anymore. And it also makes me mad because, there again, he probably kept it somewhere along with all the pictures he has of all the other girls that he considers hot and attractive. And inside of his home field. Because his family is into fantasy football scores. And then I didn't know that they all, like, later on, because I got invited to another house party without him, so that I could hear all the gossip, bad things about him, and then to have him call a friend, and then like that friend and him talk about the what's it called? It's like 1 through 10 hot score for the night in like Mac Miller terms of how good is the party theme, right? Like each party is a different theme. And then having the friend say, "Oh, it's at an 8." And so, me being like, "Oh my God, that is so nice. Wow, they're including me in an 8 category. Oh my God, that's so sweet of them." And then later on, he invites me to a a performance at this bar that his family attends, and he and his dad are performing his wonderful album. And so then Madison goes with me, and then she's like, "Go over there where, the front, where the people are." And then me being like, "No, I don't want to do that." And then after that, right, you have his family expecting me to behave a certain way, just like they expected me to behave a very professional, like all about the Griffins at the Boise Music Festival that I drove to, that took 5 hours to reach while I was working Jackson Hole, and then 5 hours to drive back the next day. And the time that he left me to go take shrooms with Booney, his best friend, that is in the Lobo Lara music, about, being the Mexican and white group in Meridian and Boise. And so, I'm being expected to like hold Corbin in all winners court. And so, that time at the bar, I'm like, "No, no, that's not my thing." And so then, because after he had sex with me, he's like, "This is a mistake. Sorry, I shouldn't have had sex with you, and you shouldn't have stayed over." And then me feeling bad for myself, being like, um, um, let's think about this. Because also, I need to go buy an after pill because you didn't want to use a condom. And I know that was part of the Chris Webby song with the shirt that I was wearing. And I didn't know about the window and the moonlight under XXX Tenacious after I removed my shirt. And so then after that, so I'm expected, right, to meet everyone, including chicks that are alike the chicks that post lingerie stuff at the bars and clubs that he took pictures with and has history with, that are also members of the family he has and the friends that he has in the local area of rap and bars and music here in that type of entertainment life. And so then he has me meet one of the chicks, and I'm there, just practically ignoring everyone's drama and just coexisting, being like, "Oh, hey, my name is this, and hey, what's up? I'm dating Corbin, yada yada, and I'm here with my friends," and basically meeting the level of like just respecting myself and knowing a lot of conversation that maybe other women might not. And so then Corbin's like super content with that, and he's like, "Okay, we gotta go. Get Madison, get Noah, we're headed out." and he puts on this like right, his his feelings are like top competitor, happy for the night. And so, he's like slapping the wood that I didn't know about, in the most simplest reference to like this night is hot, this girl is hot, or she's met the level of hot from the girl that is an 8 or a 10 in that group or family, local place, and then, being like stay there or meet up to the plate. And so, that hurt after I figured out how he and Mariana and the Griffin's family and Noah's family treat their relationships, and their relationships, how they participate by playing this hot flame, twin flame thing, and then me being like, I am not that. I am not that culture. I am not a part of this culture. And then me being like I want respect. And then Corbin being like, we need to break up. And then after that, telling me that, he has other girls that he wants to get to know, and that he also is still talking to Mariana again because she blocked him for a time, and then he wants, his answers and where the relationship is at. And then me being like, does it have to do with me going to work in Wyoming and not staying for the family reunion that I got invited to by your family, and you being happy because you get your cabin with your relationship partner finally this year at 21, when the other years you've asked and they said no because it's not in the family tradition time. Because Corbin Griffin's grandfather, who owns the family lake, still has respect rules. Even if certain family members later on during the parties they have, get too coked out, and then their partners, get too coked out, and then they pass out during dinner time at the dinner table, or something happens there that keeps the family time Griffin fun house. And so, there I am, confused and upset because he's talking all this spiritual stuff to me, and then he has me listen to the wonderful album, which is all about positivity and practically meeting eyes with God, because he brings in the Dalai Lama, and he brings in the golden rule, and he brings the idea that I am better than Mariana, who's he has been best friends with since middle school, and is his latest fiance. And he told me everything that did not align with him, and that I aligned with him and his family. Because then, before he breaks up with me, he's like, well, come with me to meet my mom. So I meet his mom. Come with me to meet my dad and my stepmom. So I meet his dad and his stepmom. And then he's like, go with me and meet my grandparents. They want to meet you. And by that time, I'm like, oh my god, I am too extroverted out. I need time for myself and Madison. And then like, Corbin goes to the Saturday lunch that he has with his grandparents, and then he brings me back food that his grandparents bought for me and was like, take this to her. And so he's like, oh, my grandparents bought this for you. And so I was confused and upset, and then I find out all this other stuff about him because when dating Alex, she didn't like my nosy side. She didn't like me getting into her business. So then when I meet Corbin, I'm like, well, I haven't had any reason to go and start snooping. Like, I'm getting to know you, the person, and not this online trend that doesn't represent the individual. And so, I'm like, plus, like, I am in a stage in this relationship where I'm trying to figure out my feelings, because those are a lot of big moves, and I want to feel important. And so, I am gonna take it at my own pace and time, because it was difficult to hear the songs that you write, right, as a good person, and then bring in relationship stuff from your relationship with Mariana, including, like and I love you. Look, I come from a culture that, like, that central sexual stuff means much more than the standard culture hookup culture. And so, like I deserve to be cared for and loved. And so, like I had to pay for my own after pill, because Corbin told me that he is working a lot as a manager and paying off certain debt that he has. So, I'm taking the responsibility and, being like, okay, well, I will pay for this, which doesn't necessarily make sense now with more maturity, but at that time, that's it. It made sense for me. And so, so I'm being put through listening to the album, and then him saying, hey, share it with friends, see what they think. And then me being like, oh my god, that's a fun thing for us to do, for us to see that our relationship is a good image and not stuck in old relationship drama. And so, you know, it was difficult to hear all that, the I love you, and that, you know, like him calling Mariana his girl, and then me, as time goes on, learning how important each line, each word, each song means under a rapper. And then, like, Corbin doesn't show affection to me in front of his friends, right? Like, only at the times where, oh, well, here's a picture. Like, that kind of promo stuff, or his level of stardom. And so, you know, like I'm like, well, like, you're not showing me affection, and I'm going through these things, and you want me to behave like someone who's all into you, and you're not reciprocating things like you used to, and I can't reciprocate what I used to in a friendship level, because I'm not receiving behavior that shows that you acknowledge those big move steps. So then, yeah, he just breaks up with me, and then afterwards he's like, we're still chill, or we're still good friends, and then invites me to different downtown things with his cousin, and I don't like his cousin. He sees a pretty girl, attractive girl like myself in the back seat, and has to adjust his junk area. And then Corbin doesn't really care, because he's in that well, anything that's bad about you says more good things about me. And then he uses that to say, hey, check out this song, this new song playlist that was given to me. And then, you know, he takes me to meet some of his friends downtown, like Kylie, and whoever Kylie is dating. And then, you know, there's no reservation made, and they feel lucky, right, to get a reservation into this favorite fondue or cheese fondue thing place. And so then, you know, like, that's what they're talking about, you know, and they're including their class, you know, because that's what they deserve. And so then everyone shares, right, from the cheese and the broccoli and other things. And guess what? I had to go use the restroom. I came back. No one freaking saved me anything besides the, like, small little piece that I left for myself, expecting that they were all nice enough with all that music they go promoting, all the friendship they go promoting, to at least leave me a plate. Guess what? My one little piece of cheese, melted cheese with my one broccoli piece, they left it like that. And then they go around still promoting their friendship, right? And I still had to pay my portion of the food bill, and being grateful, right? Because walking in, there was no resume, or not resume, there was no what's it called? What did I say? There's no reservation made, And so, I take that to account. And so removing myself from the behavior of this whole group, including Corbin, who doesn't even sit by me, I pay the extra tip. And all I have to say is that they have to meet up to how much I paid. Because it wasn't just a $9 tip. It was close to $25. To make up for the amount of disrespect that whole group was saying, that having that level of luck makes up every year that they apparently have worked so hard in being the civilians that Idaho needs to represent class. And then after that, he took me home. We dropped off his cousin. He dropped his wallet. We dropped it back to him. He took me back to the suburban area I was renting at. And I asked him, hey, do you mind listening to a song with me and just driving once or twice around the neighborhood? And then he's like, no, I gotta make it home. And so then after that, I got my feelings hurt. And he's like, here, we'll drive once around. And so we drive once around. And then after that, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna head in. And yeah, so have a good night. So I give him a kiss on the cheek. I'm very pleasant with my feelings. And I remove myself from how upset I am from everything that he has put me through. And he takes that as a signal that I want to play around with him, because then he's not nice to me. He's playing. He's playing at his macho level. And then he's like, I still get to do whatever I want, during the times that I'm visiting Madison. And, has his bong or whatever it is, he can grab it and smoke what he wants. And then I apparently have to be very welcoming to how much time he spends with me there, because Madison and Noah stay there until I'm about to leave at midnight. And then Corbin states out loud, whoa, it's midnight. I should have been in bed at 10 by now. And then I'm upset And I'm like, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave. So I leave. And then, you know, like I'm driving back, and it's annoying to think about the time that I've spent with Madison, Noah, and Corbin with me, because I'm thinking about friends now and, you know, watching movies together, TV together, with favorite shows that we have, and then our summer or our vacation together, going to Oregon, somewhere in Oregon where we camped for the night, and including Booney, and then to have Corbin be like, all right, well, Booney, you're sleeping with us. And then Noah and Madison are the ones who have had their relationship for about over a year now. And then I'm like, okay, well, no one is actually being good friends with me right now. And everyone is being extremely selfish and is on weed. And I just am not having a good experience. I think Georgina also went with us, Madison's other best friend. And there I am being like, hey, did you know these fruits or this herbal tea is good for you? And she's like, yeah, but they don't really do much. And then, you know, like practically just not being good friends with me, who isn't as much of a smoker to comparison to all of them, right? Like all they know is, we already know, we think it's funny. If you want to participate with us, then it's a little smoke, and then it's about less than 10 minutes before you're like, I have to go because I'm gonna fall asleep. And then I just like become the boring friend or the boring girlfriend. And there's no moves from Corbin during that time, friend or dating partner, that supports me and the way that I want to live, with like going in and not participating in that extra behavior because I'm there. All right, there. So yeah, so there's Corbin Griffin. The expectations I have are not out of this world. And someone, including Madison Beach, my best friend used to be, should have told me that Corbin, along with all of them, were too much of big drug addicts, a different lifestyle, and they should have told me that the relationship between me and Corbin was not a good idea, because we're very, very different in that. And that I shouldn't have this belief that he's going to leave that lifestyle to be a part of my life. So there, after that, I'm like, yeah, that's true. It's very true. Wow. It seems that there was a good time there for him, and it hurts that I still went through a lot of my own personal stuff, and he never messaged me back in anything that I had to say. I have old Snapchat messages between us and things that I left underneath some of his videos that he posted on his YouTube under B-Guy Griffin or the Griffin House or GriffinHouseMusic, and he never responded. I left my phone number online, and he never responded to any of that either. And I don't check his stuff because it makes me upset that he probably deleted every message that I left. And for him to be an extrovert, it's so damn hilarious to know that he doesn't like a public show when I was expected to be parts of myself last and put on a show to be accepted in the culture enough for him to decide whether I was someone that he would like to pursue out of all the women he told me that could have a chance to be with him, not just dating, but sexually. And then online you have pictures, videos of how he goes for good behaved girls. That is a culture way too sexual for me. Me growing up, being born in a Catholic family, and then being baptized myself as a Catholic, and then going to Catholic Mass and church form of activities for children. No, not past the labor intenseness of LDS schedules is just an additional hour for like a couple of months before we're retired for the year. So, the lovey-dovey stuff online, left online of him and Mariana, or of Mariana participating in family local activity events that are also very sexual through the trends in the rap culture. The vagina stuff, the butt stuff, the sexual experiences, the drugs, the candy, and then having Mariana pictures of herself with others promoting losing virginity through her, like, I don't know how to do her thing where she, like, has a clear bubble flat thing that she can pierce through and have that be the picture. I don't have those skills. I'm very content with that. And then, her proudly wearing filter skull looks. Skull, not school. Skull. And then playing around with black, purple, and signs. All of that represents that she is a girl under 18 and then over 18 that participates in gang-affiliated behavior. Not just under drug addict. And she apparently was supposed to show up to the Boise Music Festival, but didn't show up. I was there. She was told or saw on Facebook that Corbin already had a new girl. She didn't show up, and she still seemed to have plenty of leverage because Corbin broke up with me because he knew I didn't want him talking to Mariana. And I guess he felt bad that that would be cheating. So he broke up with me. And thought that I could be a twin flame to him by having a fling style winning each other back. And that is a no from me. And I also get to prioritize that those important big moves have to feel good to to me. They have to mean something to me. And not just being a good girl. Okay, I'm going to leave it to that. So there. Corbin Griffin is a pervert. So is Twiggy, his father. So is Mariana. So is every girl that he has pictures with, including the naughty, perverted children that play along with those games. It's a whole house of party drug addicts and promotional fun family activity that is not subliminal and is under police surveillance, law surveillance. Government surveillance. Check out their page. They all know that the world is too extreme in this modern age. They just know how to have fun. With life. Because it's wonderful. Yes, Corbin, this is Geo. This is Geo, your ex-girlfriend. I was the piece of paper that you wiped your butt with and then threw away. Thank you.